This is going to be such an epic week for cryptocurrencies. And it seemed like to kick off crypto week, we got derailed. The first vote on the Genius Act didn't pass. Everyone was worried it would have to go back to the Senate. The market knows otherwise, though. Bitcoin looking strong. XRP only 10 cents away from cracking that $3 threshold. Ethereum up over $3,000 at $3,100. If Ethereum's going up, you know it's bullish. The market knows what's happening. These bills are going to get pushed through. We see President Trump announcing 11 representatives who voted against pro-crypto legislation have now agreed to change their vote in favor of advancing the bill. This is the thing. They said, oh, we voted against it because it's not strong enough against CBDCs. You're going to stop decentralized technology to protect people against CBDCs? It's nonsense. It's BS. You have to pass this legislation now. You can deal with CBDCs separately. We'll go into that. But if you kick this back to the Senate and they got to rework it and they have to vote again on it, it may never happen. You may find yourself 4 years from now staring at Gary Gensler 2.0, and without regulatory protection, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. They better pass this stuff as it is right now, and they cannot mess around with reworking any of these bills here. We see Congress is advancing the most important set of crypto bills ever, and the entire world is watching. We must strike while the iron is hot. We have the Clarity Act, the most important of all, which ends the SEC versus CFTC turf war and finally gives clear rules for token issuers, exchanges, etc. What is a security? What is a commodity? We have to get that through. Now, the Genius Act, of course, stablecoins are going to become legit, user-friendly, institutional ready, backed by clear compliance standards. We would like to solve world hunger. Doesn't mean we have to attach it to this bill. The Genius Act doesn't have to solve everything. It just needs to get stablecoin regulations across the board. And it has anti-CBDC language in it. Pass this thing and do it now, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Anti-CBDC Act. So there you go. It blocks surveillance coins, protects privacy, limits the Fed's power to issue a retail CBDC. I'm telling you, I don't like CBDCs as much as the next person. They're digital prisons. But holding back decentralized technology isn't going to help protect you against that. It's nonsense. Vote these bills through. And we have an update. Of course, the Genius Act failed the House today. It's a procedural gridlock, not lack of support. It's one of the most advanced and bipartisan crypto bills ever. And it's going to get passed. It's going to go through, and they have to. We cannot send it back to the Senate to fiddle around and waste months and months and months. You don't know what the future holds. This stuff may not end up getting finalized. We must act now. Big announcement, ProShares Ultra XRP ETF. This is a futures product, just got the green light. New York Stock Exchange, this is a leverage ETF. 2x daily exposure to XRP futures. And this is a big step for institutional access. It also has another reason why it's important. Regulatory entry point for TradFi. SEC approval shows growing comfort with crypto derivatives, and it paves the way for a potential spot XRP ETF. Why? Well, think back to Grayscale. They sued the SEC, and why did they win? Because the judge said, you let futures trade. What's the difference? And so as they're now approving these future products, it means they're comfortable with the spot product, and we're going to get there, and it's going to be approved soon. It's just a matter of time. There is no difference if you allow people to invest in futures, which track the underlying asset, than just buy the asset. It makes no difference. That's been tried in court. Essentially, when you see these future products that are approved, you know the XRP spot ETF is coming pretty soon. Now, this is a big one. I want to talk about this because there's some nuance to it. XRP and ISO 20022. It's a lot of drama with this subject. I hope I can do it a fair job here. What's actually happening? Well, the Federal Reserve, they just executed a one-day Big Bang migration of its Fed services to ISO 20022. This is being reported by payments.com. And this is a major step towards modernizing global payments. Now, remember this, ISO 20022, it's a messaging standard. That's all it is. It formats payment instructions. It has nothing to do with the asset. So XRP, when you hear that it's ISO 20022 compliant, that's nonsense. It's not an ISO coin. But Ripple Pay is. Ripple Pay is ISO compliant, and so are other modern payment systems. XRP, it can be used in Ripple Pay here. Now, Ripple Pay, it supports all sorts of assets, XRP, stable coins, even Bitcoin and Ethereum themselves. if we're going to go under that logic, well, all of those coins are ISO compliant as well. But it doesn't mean nothing. And this is the deal here. This means, Ripple's payments, it's now easier to integrate with other banks, institutions, with the Fed as everyone transitions into this new standard. And of course, XRP is the secret weapon of Ripple, and it's going to be used, and it makes it easier to integrate both XRP payments and RLUSD payments and other stablecoin payments in with all these systems. So when you're a payment asset, yeah, this makes a difference. This is a big deal, not because XRP is some magical ISO coin, but because it brings payments into the modern era, and XRP has a lot of utility for making and settling payments quickly. And so this is a bullish deal here. Modern rails make blockchain settlements more viable, and XRP, it just happens to be the coin ready to capture a great chunk of that market. Now, we're seeing some pushback here, of course, today. Who knows what backdoor deals were done, but this stuff is going to go through, and this is the reason why. $140 million war chest. This is being reported by Politico. Crypto versus Congress. The crypto industry is armed fair shake pack with $140 million, and it's going to get more. It's going to get bigger. And they're aiming straight for Capitol Hill. Ripple, Coinbase, A16. These are the top donors to this fund. And 2026 targets, anti-crypto politicians nationwide. Doesn't matter what party you're in. If you're anti-crypto, this PAC is going to fund your opposition, and with a lot of money, and it's going to grow even bigger. And so we see this week votes on Clarity and stablecoins, and we'll decide who gets funded in the future and who gets buried. You do not want to be anti-crypto now as this crypto industry gets more powerful. They're getting bigger and bigger war chests, and it's just like the tech industry, man. They are going to buy the future. You're not just watching legislation. You're watching a political power shift in real time, and it's just going to become more dramatic. You best believe that. David Schwartz said XRP no longer needs banks. Now, I want to put a little bit of nuance on this. We see Ripple CTO David Schwartz. The old playbook is dead. Banks, they're too slow to adopt XRP. The partnerships look good in press releases, but the real volume never came. Now, it's going to. And remember what he's saying here. XRP no longer needs banks. Doesn't mean Ripple's not going to work with banks. Of course, they work with fintech and, different payment processors, but banks are going to get included here, you best believe. But for XRP to be successful, well, now we have DeFi, and liquidity moves fast, and utility matters. And XRP's future, what really matters is the on-chain stuff. Not the traditional stuff. It's going to be powered by stablecoins, exchanges, DeFi rails. That's where the growth is going to come, and the big money savings as well. It's no more waiting for banks to catch up. They're going to have to jump on board here. But the game has changed forever. Bill Gates always said, we don't need banks, we just need banking. With the blockchain, as you come into the modern era, a lot of banking services are going to be obsolete, and you can do it in a decentralized manner as we continue to build this out. Ripple may need banks. Ripple may work with banks, but XRP itself does not need them any longer. Really interesting story. I've talked about this before, but David Schwartz, he sold 40,000 Ethereum tokens at about $1 to put solar on a house he no longer owns. That Ethereum is now worth over $100 million. And it was worth $100 million very shortly after he made that sale. And a couple things I bring up with this. First of all, if David Schwartz couldn't see that coming, to think that I'm going to see the next big move, or, some other YouTuber, like the smartest minds in crypto couldn't see that kind of massive growth. No one really does. Just be careful. This stuff grows faster than any other assets out there. Take some chips off the table, like Raul Paul talks about, those lifestyle chips, but just pay attention to what you're doing, because I'm telling you right now, he had no idea that in almost no time, that $40,000 would grow to $100 million. It's just wild. Nothing is like this space, and we're about to go into hyperdrive here with mass adoption. And it's really interesting to see someone as smart as him just unable to peek around the corner and know it was going to happen, because nobody knew. Nobody knew, but we know the capabilities out there are big. Saw this today. A lot of people freaking out. Our great California Governor Newsom, was at Ripple headquarters today talking about how to use transformative technology on behalf of Californians and beyond. This is what I would tell you. I'm not telling you to go out and vote in the next presidential election for Governor Newsom or for anyone. What you're seeing here, though, is this will become a bipartisan topic. and then you can just go out and vote for the person whose politics you like. You're not going to see this going forward for too much longer. There's a lot of money, there's no stopping progress. This will be a bipartisan issue. Let's just make that a certainty, though, by getting these things codified in law, making sure there are clear rules of the road. Let's get this stuff into law, and then no one can touch us because we will be so big 4 years from now. Good luck to you if you try. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.